Lethbridge, Alberta is one of the cheapest real estate markets in Canada. But is it the right market to invest in? Well, let's find out by going over the pros and cons, and at the end, I'll provide my honest opinion. My name's Kurtis Hawkins, and I'm a realtor located right here in Lethbridge, Alberta. And I myself have 3 rental properties. One of them is located in a small town just outside of Lethbridge, and 2 located actually right in Lethbridge. So you might be asking yourself already that I own 2 rentals, so maybe you should too. And I mean, if I buy and sell real estate for a living and I'm buying rentals, maybe there's something to it, and maybe there's something that I don't know that you don't. Well, maybe. Let's find out first by starting out with the pros. So pro number 1 is long-term wealth. Now, for this first point, it isn't specific to Lethbridge, but this goes for all real estate investing. And it is one of the most important concepts when it comes to investing in real estate. And what's more important to know is that investing in real estate can create wealth, but it happens slowly and it happens over the long term. And in my opinion, you shouldn't be investing in real estate for the short term or short-term profits. Short-term real estate investing is like gambling. And long story short, investing is not gambling. You see, every market has its peaks and its valleys. And buying property for the short-term gains means that you have to perfectly time these peaks and valleys in any real estate market. However, if you look at the long term, markets have historically always gone open value, again, over the long term. Basically, the longer you hold a property, the less risky the investment becomes. But this also leads me to my next pro that is specifically about Lethbridge. So getting into pro number 2, which is our steady real estate market. Now, Lethbridge has a relatively stable real estate market, as you can see here on this graph, and our peaks and valleys are very minimal, meaning that if you buy real estate in Lethbridge, looking at long-term trends, there is very low risk. However, looking at the short term, you're probably not going to become rich by buying a home and selling it within the next 3 to 5 years. However, if you hold that property for the long term, it's going to alleviate any regret of stress because you aren't going to notice any significant changes in the way that your home is valued. And the next pro that I want to talk about is vacancies. But before we get into it, I did want to stop right here and let you know that down in the description of this video, there's a link to sign up for auto email listings. So if you are interested in revenue properties and want to see what's on the market, just click the link down below to receive free auto listing updates. Basically, how this works is you put in your criteria, and every time a new listing hits the market, you're going to get an email so that you never miss one. Also, I did want to mention that I do have this idea to create a video of kind of like an investment properties 101 type video. So a very basic understanding of rental properties. And if you would be interested in that, please drop a comment down below. And depending on the feedback, maybe I'll make that video or maybe I won't. But anyway, let's get back to vacancies. Now, as I mentioned, I have 3 rental properties, and my wife and I bought our first rental property about 7 to 8 years ago. And since then, knock on wood, we have never had a vacancy. And basically, ever since the pandemic, the rental market has continued to heat up, and it's getting tighter and tighter. And with all of the amount of people that are moving from Lethbridge from other provinces, it's put a strain on our housing market, and I suspect that's only going to continue. But a disclaimer, of course, I can't guarantee that. Now, pro number 4 is rental prices. And again, since the pandemic, as interest rates have continued to rise, so have rental prices. Right now, the average rental price, according to Zumper, is about $1,400 per month, excluding utilities, and is up 6% year over year. In my experience, the average 2-bedroom suite is renting for about $1,500 to $1,800, including utilities, and a 3-bedroom is closer to $1,800 to $2,200, depending if there is a garage or not. Now, that being said, Lethbridge is still one of the cheapest rental markets, but still creates some decent revenue. So in summary of all these pros, Lethbridge is a very stable market. We have some good rents, and we have low vacancies. Now that just sounds like a trifecta of the perfect investment market, am I right? Well, before you rush in, let's talk about the cons. So con number 1 is slow appreciation. Like I mentioned in the first pro, that Lethbridge is very stable and we have that stable housing market, we also have relatively low appreciation. Now yes, over the past 3 years, the market is up about 20% or more, which is pretty significant, but historically, our market usually isn't like that. It's usually very slow growth, which in my opinion is how a market should be. So again, I can't stress this enough. If you think you're going to get rich in the next 2 or 3 years and retire a millionaire just because you bought some rental properties in Lethbridge, that's just not going to happen. Again, real estate is a long-term investment. Now, this slow appreciation, like I mentioned, is actually a good thing because it keeps those speculation buyers and foreign investors from over purchasing in our market and creating those large real estate bubbles that you see in Vancouver or Toronto. Now, con number 2 is the work. Now, you might be thinking that investing in real estate is just passive income, and after a couple properties, you can quit your job, retire at the beach, and you can just be at an all-inclusive while you're bringing in this passive income that you hear all over the internet. But it couldn't be further from the truth. Owning real estate as an investment is work. Now, it's not everyday type of work, and it's definitely not a 9 to 5, but there are a lot of problem solving and maintenance that goes into owning a home, let alone multiple of them. And at the end of the day, you're providing a physical good and a service to a person or family that you do need to answer to. Now, of course, yes, you can just hire a property management company if you want to be more hands off, but you'll still have to work closely with that property manager to ensure your asset is safe and in good hands. The third con to investing in real estate is risk. Now, owning a rental property, in my opinion, is one of the safest investments that you can own. There is, after all, reason why I own 3, and I hope to keep buying more. However, that's not to say there is zero risk. There's risk that you're going to have a bad renter. There's risk that the market will crash. There's risk that the utilities and the interest rates will just skyrocket. Now, the risk is quite small. However, if you can't handle even just this little amount of risk, maybe getting into the real estate market as an investor just isn't for you, and you're better off buying a zero risk mutual fund. Now that we've gone through those pros and cons, what I wanted to touch on right now was the seriousness of buying real estate. Because a lot of times I feel like it's easy to just put numbers on paper and say, hey, if I buy a suite at home, I can buy it for this, I can rent it for this, and it'll be a great investment, and we can charge top dollar, and I can retire, and it'll enhance my life, and it'll enhance my family's lifestyle, and on and on and on. However, what I do want investors to remember is that these investment properties are needed by renters, whether they're students or families. And at the end of the day, being a landlord is a big responsibility, and your clients or your customers deserve to have a nice place to live and a reasonable landlord. What I have always found is that if you're forget landlord. If you're just a good person, your renter will usually be good to you. And this is a people's business. And I want my clients who are investors to be good landlords, to provide a safe and clean property, to keep up with the maintenance, and literally everybody can win. The renter gets a good place to live, the landlord gets good rent, and the world goes round and round, and everybody can be happy. So I hope you've learned a bit in this video and learned about the pros and cons of investing in real estate, and specifically what it's like investing in the Lethbridge real estate market. And if you want to learn more about investing, you want to learn more about the real estate market, or you want to see any of the home tours that I'm producing, be sure to hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in the next video.